A trust is a legal mechanism which allows assets to be held and managed by one person, the trustee, for the benefit of another person, the beneficiary. A trust can be used for any purpose and to own any kind of asset. It offers the ultimate flexibility in the ownership of property. The trust is able to do anything that an individual or corporation can do. A trust can be created for any purpose, such as to take care of family members, pay tuition fees, provide financial support to retirees, pay medical expenses, and so on. Whoever decides to set up a trust is known as the settlor or grantor. The grantor transfers the legal title to the assets he wants to place in trust to the trustee. The trustee is selected by the grantor. The trustee can be a friend, a bank, or a professional manager. The assets granted to the trust and under control of the trustee are then managed on behalf of the beneficiaries of the trust. Legally, the ownership of the assets pass from the grantor to the trust. The trustee or trustees of the trust become responsible for the management of those assets for the life of the trust. The beneficiaries of the trust will be entitled to receive income or assets from the trust only as detailed in the trust declaration. The grantor can stipulate the powers of the trustee in the trust declaration that's made when the trust is set up initially. The powers given to the trustee can be strictly limited if that's what the grantor wants. When you set up a trust, it can be used to keep your affairs private. In some jurisdictions, the trust itself is a matter of public record, but the details of the grantor and beneficiaries remain private. The whole point of a trust is that, unlike a corporation, it can't have owners. Instead, the assets of the trust are managed by the trustees for the benefit of the beneficiaries. Depending on the trust declaration, the beneficiaries can include people who haven't been born yet, such as future children and grandchildren. Because the trust has no legal owners, the assets remain safe from lawsuits and seizures. It's best to set up a trust long before any problems are on the horizon. The trust should be set up years before major wealth-changing events such as divorce and bankruptcy. Overseas trusts can have major advantages in terms of protecting the assets held by the trust. Jurisdictions such as the Cook Islands and Nevis have time limits on any claims on the trust for fraudulent conveyance. After 2 years elapse from the date assets are conveyed to the trust, no legal claims can be made against those assets. The fact that the trust is overseas makes it much more costly and complex for any creditor to pursue a legal claim against the trust. The most common reason to set up a trust is to create a predefined method to pass title to property from one generation to another. The trust can be set up in such a way that complex probate procedures can be avoided. It can also be structured to avoid inheritance tax on the assets contained within the trust. An offshore trust can create an extra layer of privacy for the trust and the grantor. In many jurisdictions, the trust doesn't have to be disclosed on the public record. It's impossible for anyone to find out what assets are held in the trust and who the beneficiaries of the trust are. This can make litigation against the trust very difficult. In order to set up a trust offshore, you'll have to first select the right jurisdiction. There are many on offer in the offshore world, from Liechtenstein to the Cook Islands. All have their own benefits and drawbacks. You will appoint the trustees who will manage the assets as per your instructions on behalf of your beneficiaries. You will then transfer title of the assets you want to be held by the trust and be administered by the trustees under the trust declaration. The trust declaration must always allow the grantor to change the trustees at any time and for any reason. A trust can be the ultimate asset protection structure when set up correctly. It can protect your assets against future creditors. It can ensure that estates are passed to your heirs seamlessly in accordance with your wishes. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel for more information on asset protection strategies, second citizenship, and overseas residency.